Proxy, Table Gaming, PTG, YouTube, Hyper-G, and Lucky Sixes.
Yeah, boy.
It's a list of various keywords that you will find on this video.
Yep.
Maybe. I don't know anyone actually searches Hyper-G video or definitely Lucky Sixes video. I
Yeah.
mean,
Well, if you
that's
do,
a
you'll
regular Google, right?
absolutely. And if you do, you'll come straight here, baby. This video, number one.
Well, I mean, other than your other sites that you advertise separately to Proxy Table Gaming,
We got to keep the lights running. We got to keep the lights running.
Absolutely, we do. And speaking of which, I mean, we have slowed down, but we've tagged each other in and out for this one, haven't we? Because you've tagged
Absolutely.
out after ETC,
Yep.
and I've just tagged right in. Obviously, I was on pause for the whole of the summer
You
while
were.
you did ETC, but now I've been activated. It's like the tag team partner coming in,
Absolutely.
and
And I can chill out now. And this is my turn to just sit at, relax,
yeah,
spur you on, critique
absolutely,
you, all
yeah,
that jazz.
exactly, yeah. Not quite as prestigious as ETC, but arguably, yeah, still a very good place to be. Cardiff is one of our best venues in the country.
Mm.
You know, and it's up there in terms of tournament venues, full stop, really, isn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah, really nice.
The second time I've been to a tournament there this year, actually. This one run by Rob Cousins,
Yep.
who is a great TO. I mean,
He is.
I
And a
don't
great
think there's
guy.
any TOs. Yeah, I
Right?
mean, there's not many TOs that I don't think are great TOs, to be fair.
No, exactly.
But Rob is really relaxed, really chilled, and just kind of lets the weekend just flow and just goes with it, and it's really cool. So I was looking forward to this one. Everyone loves Firestorm as well. It's a good venue, and yeah, I decided to take Saurians. Sticking with Saurians.
Yeah.
The reason I did that was mainly because I didn't have a lot of time to practice
Sure.
in between the team tournament, which was in Cardiff, and this one, although they were like 3 months apart. So I don't know what I was playing at really. But I do know what happened. I'd one practice game in particular where I just got absolutely smashed. So I decided not to use that revised list and went back to the original list. So
Sure.
but anyway, we'll get onto that in a second because I drew against Warriors of the Dark Gods and Tom Clews for round one.
The Warriors, yeah.
There he is, the Warriors. Yeah, absolutely. And this is what I decided to take. So the main reasons for why my Saurian list changed between the team tournament and this is because the book had another version.
Yeah, another update.
It's like it's kind of going through that process, so you to be expected.
Was it May?
But,
a May update?
Yeah, May was Cardiff, and then it actually changed on the week of the team tournament, but not in time for the tournament. So, yeah, weirdness. But anyway, and it did mean that I got a few extra points to play with. So there's actually a few additions to this list that I didn't have at the team tournament, or slight tweaks anyway. But it's very similar because you've got, I mean, the skink veteran on the Taurosaur is actually new. So there's that.
Yeah.
Which is kind of cool. And he was giving out the 5-up Aegis to shooting with the Lodestone Shield. And he has a carved tablet, which is a bound spell, which is usually a missile that causes damage. And I'll try and remember which missile I took throughout the battles as we go. Also rocking an Infiltrator's Dart to help out the Ramphidons and the Stygosaurs with hatred and stuff. But I did only have one Infiltrator's Dart. So there was only one Block Toad Rage, whatever it's called, Praescent thing going around. And that actually was a mistake on my part. I don't know at what point I took out my second Infiltrator's Dart, but at some point I did. Because I obviously got to exactly 4,500 and never put it back in.
And the OCD
when I realized
kicked in.
Yeah, when I realized that I'd only got one Infiltrator's Dart, one Praescent marker, I was a little like, eek, that's not ideal. But hey, we'll deal with it. I got a little skink veteran just running around and giving Discipline 7 to the skink warriors, the 20 skink warriors, all running around as chaff. Anarch Archmage using Evocation now.
Yes.
So for like over a year, I've been using Divination and gone against 0 Demon Legions.
Yeah.
So I'm finally leaving divination behind, and maybe evocation will suit me better. We'll find out.
Evocation is a bit more snipey and combat buffy.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. So we'll see how that works out. But I will be losing like the ability to boost agility or do Fate's Judgment and that sort of thing. Although Fate's Judgment's included in Carved Tablet actually as it happens, but still.
Oh, that's good.
Yes. The Tego Veteran is exactly the same as he was before. Through the various iterations of point changes, he no longer has Rage's Boots, which I did take to Art of War originally back in Feb. So he can't really charge out on his own as a threat quite as easily, but he's still pretty decent. And now he has got 5 attacks basic instead of 4.
Yeah, back to
my
that. So that's
that
nice.
certain rant video,
Yep.
But of course, no one's got what was it called? The Lodestone. No one's got that in combat anymore. That's gone for Saurians. That used to be a +1 to hit against armor. It's gone completely now.
Yeah.
So yeah, hitting isn't as easy, but he has got his 5 attacks back. Still got my Tegu Warriors with the usual jazz, Enclave Wizard, Awaken the Beast. Banner of Discipline has gone on them. The reason for that is the one practice battle that I really had in between these 2 tournaments. Well, I think I had 2 practice battles, but in the main one, where I learnt not to use a different list, was this unit got mortared, and I failed a panic test, and they ran.
And
they won't be running anymore. Exactly, yeah. They've got a Banner of Discipline.
Thanks,
all is
Richard.
Good. Yeah, I know. Own teammate as well. How could he? Right. The reason why the Banner of Discipline works especially well is because the Thyroscutus is with them, with the Monolith of Vitalism, which is the BSB. So it's auto pass panic tests on them now.
Yeah, not even
not even re-rolling. It's just job done. 2 units for Skink Hunters as light troops Chaffy Staff. 1 unit of Skink Warriors. That's just a scoring unit of very little pointage, which is actually really cool. They just back up and go where you want them to go to try and grab an objective, really, or hide and capture the flags.
Yeah.
24 Tegu Guards, which is a lot less than I've had before. I think I was like 27 or 28 before. It's not a lot less, but it feels like a lot less.
Yeah.
And because of the lesser amount, I'm actually going only 7 or 6 wide instead of 8 wide. And it just doesn't feel like it's quite as much of a combat threat. They've also got the Koru Stone, which is actually rally around the flag. So I've actually got 2 BSB effects going on, which is kind of weird. I don't think any army in all of 9th Age has 2 BSBs going on at the same time.
I guess
maybe Vermin Swarms have a kind of effect, but yeah. And I don't know really whether anyone thinks that's a good idea or not. But it means both my blocks have got a re-rollable bubble that they're giving out. So I quite like that.
Yeah.
4 Ramphadon Riders. I wrote so many lists without including these guys, and I just kept on putting them back in because I love them.
Yeah.
I love them. They let me down so much, but I love them. It's kind of like it's got the Temple Guard project, but also the Ramphadon project. That's been going on years. Like I just like them, Yeah. So they're staying.
Go full. What's the max you can have?
2 units of 4, I think, is the maximum.
Oh, is it? Okay, it's not 2.
Yeah, not too many more, but yeah. I could be wrong. I haven't done that. I don't own any more Ramphadons, so yeah. 11 Tego Mystics. Well, at some point I tried to get like 20 Tego Mystics into a list, or maybe even more, because I wanted to make them the focus of my army. But when I tried it just failed miserably. That was my other practice battle. So my practices that I did have weren't successful at all at trying new things. So I've gone back down to my minimum list.
Yeah.
In fact, I think it was the 11th one going in that meant I didn't get my extra infiltrators darting, actually. So I'm going to blame them for that. Anywho, and then there's the 2 Sigil Sword pack with the Awaken the Bee. Swarm of Insects. Enclave, most likely.
Lots of magic.
There is lots of magic. Yeah, I've got the Evocation. I've got the Carved Tablet. I've got a few Enclave Wizards. 4 Enclave Wizards. So yeah, it's like 9 spells overall, I think, which is nice.
Great.
Over to Clewsy's list. Clewsy hadn't played since the team tournament either. Like he hadn't played at all, so he was feeling a bit rusty. But let's not forget he was part of the winning team at the team tournament.
He was.
So the Lions they actually were victorious there. So I was taking his rustiness with a pinch of salt, and obviously his Warriors. And I had a lot of fun with Clewsy about. Oh well, you can't really be rusty with Warriors. Can you just move them forward and they fight.
Exactly, yeah.
Not much to it, is it? But he insisted that wasn't the case with Warriors.
There's a nuance to this, Mr. Hyper G.
I know. But let's see what he's got. So you'll be happy because he's got an Exalted Herald.
Yeah,
baller. Love that, absolutely, definitely. Sorcerer Adept on Alchemy with 1-up save, Rod of Battle, pretty standard. Barbarian Chief on a Shadow Chaser. That's a nice little movement high chap. And with Thrice Forged, he's pretty defended as well. I think that makes him a 1-up armor. And then he's rocking a spell.
He's got 3 attacks. He's an interesting one for me. If Clews is there and watching, I'd really like to know how he got on in the whole tournament. Like, what his use was, because that is a really interesting piece. But
yes, absolutely. Yeah, 3 attacks at agility 0 is a little bit concerning to me, but yeah, absolutely. 21 Pride Warriors, Banner Relentless, so they can get in the place they want to be. 15 Barbarians, that's obviously a bunker for his wizard. 8 Warhounds, 4 Chosen Knights with Wrath, which is pretty nasty, and Wasteland Torch. I swear, I mean, you kind of like took Wasteland Torch right from the off in your Warriors days.
It's amazing.
And since then, it's changed a bit, but it's now auto take. Much.
I used to have it in a group of Sloth Warriors, and now I don't.
Yeah, Chosen Knights just always have it, or one unit has it.
So good with Alchemy as well. So good.
Yeah. And then we've got a taste of Tankers ETC Warrior Knights as well, with the 1-up save, Envy, which means they're superchargy. I think that's superchargy, isn't it?
It is,
yeah. It was. And they're scary, like legitimately 10-inch charges they can do in their sleep.
Yeah, it's like 52%, I believe.
Exactly, yeah.
It's mad.
So be very scared of them. 2 Feldrick Elders, which are just beasties, and 5 players, which are there for chat. Cool. It's a pretty decent Warriors list, and with Clewsy in charge, you're going to get a good fight on your hands. This was one of the cool, funky Cardiff scenarios. We did actually play this last year at Cardiff in round 1 when I spectacularly lost 19-1 to Gareth Willis in round 1.
There we go.
He was Vermin's then. So I wasn't feeling massively confident. This is where you basically, like the picture shows, you get a version of the deployment, which is a bit different, either 2 corners or 1 big center.
Yeah.
And combined with secure target, it's pretty cool, really. It's a nice, fun variation. So the secure target, unlike last year at Cardiff, where you could actually move the target, whoever deployed last could move the secure target 6 inches or something like that. That wasn't here in this one. Rob just decided to make it simple. It was normal secure target. So yeah. And here we are. And there are my little sticks from movementtray.com. Very much making use of them right from the off. Thank you to those guys over there for sending them across. It was very luminous green for the whole tournament.
Nice. Very useful.
Yeah. So you can see that I got the corners. I believe Clewsy won the roll-off, and I got given that, essentially. And that meant I was split amongst the 2 corners. You can see 2 coins on the table, one on the far left near the Feldrick Elder, and one near the obstacle on the right-hand side.
I'll just move us
2 golden coins, not silver. I said silver earlier. Yeah, I placed the one on the left-hand side, actually, and the reason I did that was to try and keep his Chosen Knights over there for the entire game. No, sorry, I should correct that. You place them before the deployment, don't you?
Yeah.
I wanted a scoring unit of his to be wasted over there.
Yeah,
and I kind of felt that if he only put the Barbarians over there, then I would try and take them on. But if he put one of his other scoring, which is either the Knights, Chosen Knights, or the Warriors, then it was a win for me because I could just let him have that objective and play for the other one.
Sure, yeah.
My idea with deployment then was to pincer with my big unit of Tegu Warriors who are on the hill on the left-hand deployment zone, and my Tegu Guard with the Anarach on the right-hand side, and then I was basically just going to close in, was my plan, while going for one of the objectives, and I wasn't sure which one I was going to go for, depending on his deployment, because I dropped for first, which, you'll be proud of me for doing that.
I love it. Love it.
Yeah. Elsewise, I've got the Tegu Mystics behind the Tegu Warriors, unit Skink Hunters on the left. I also have this cheap unit of Skinks on the left to run up and get the objective if the Chosen Knights go elsewhere. Towards
They
the
could
middle,
try and take on an Elder and 2 Chosen Knights.
Absolutely, they could. Yeah, why not? You know, if they get distracted by something else, then the Skinks will run in. The Taurosaur is just the right Tegu Warriors, and then the Stegosaurs. You can see my Tegu Veteran is on the right hand side of the Tegu Warriors, sticking with his weapon out. On the left hand side, like I say, the Tegu Guard, the Ramphidons, and the Uniskink Hunters. For Clewsy, he did indeed have a Feldrak Elder on the far left with the Chosen Knights. Then the Flayers, who were just hiding in the ruins, and they got Strider, haven't they, in ruins and all sorts, so they didn't care about ruins. Clewsy changed the forest in front of my deployment in that little valley area.
So there's 3 ruins on this.
There's 3 ruins on here, and obviously his Chosen Knights have got Strider in that, so it was a bit strong. But yeah. The Barbarians are just behind in the middle. Then he's got his dogs in the forest. He's got his Warrior Knights dead center with a rather intimidating looking unit filler.
Yeah.
Then he has got the EH just behind. Then the Warriors, and then another Exalted Herald. His Shadow Chaser Barbarian Chief has already vanguarded.
Yeah.
Out wide a bit.
The Vanguard 6, is it?
Yeah, not very far. Yeah. I think the Flayers also Vanguard 6 as well into the ruins. Which they've done. They don't care. Not that you care during Vanguard anyway.
No.
So yeah, I took my first turn, moved as follows. I vanguarded and moved my Ramphidons into the middle. I block-toaded, prey-scented the Warrior Knights in the middle because I had both my Stegosaurs and my Ramphidons facing off against them. Yeah. I had to stay so far back though because of that envy charge that they can do.
Yeah.
Because on the charge they can go through the Stegosaurs or the Ramphidons like butter, irrespective of the prey scent, and I'd probably kill them without, bringing into effect my stubborn test.
Yeah.
Because there's just so many attacks and such high strength, and you don't do much back to them either. I moved my Tegu Warriors up on the hill, still on the hill. They are in the front arc of the Warriors. I'm not suicidal and giving the Warriors a flank charge straight away. And meanwhile, there's just shuffling elsewhere. The Tegu Guard on the right hand side were kind of just moving away from the board edge so that they could then shuffle into the middle. But I also wanted to threaten that objective on the right as well. Okay, so what's this indicate? Oh yes, I did the carved wisdom, the carved tablet, sorry, on the Warrior Knights and got Molten Copper to kill a few Warrior Knights, which is a really nice option. And Molten Copper is one of those bound spells that it doesn't matter that it's a bound spell because there's no upgraded version, so it's superb. And against 1-up Warrior Knights, it's perfect. So
yeah, I only killed 2 is actually pretty unlikely, isn't it?
Yes, it wasn't a great outcome.
D3 plus 3?
Yeah, he's 6 wide and only killed 3 actually, I think it is. I think 3 died.
Okay.
Oh no, 2. No, you're right, 2. It's D3 plus 4, isn't it?
Yeah, so to actually only kill 2 is pretty unlucky.
Yeah, but it is only AP4, so we still have a 5 of arms.
True.
So there is that as well.
Yeah.
And if I don't remember what I got on the D3, but if you only get 5 hits, then potentially you could save 2 or 3.
Yeah.
And you've still got a wound on 2s as well. So there's a few ways it can be reduced.
Yeah.
Anywho, yeah. So into Cluzy's turn, and he fanned out like a biatch, basically. Yeah, I mean, look at this nice little warrior arc. I mean, if I wasn't feeling overwhelmed with intimidating stuff before, then I am now. And also, I think it was around now that I thought to myself, I have not placed my objective very well because this is going to be really hard for me to win either of them.
Yeah.
It's all very well saying that I can keep the Chosen Knights out of the game because they're the unit that's gone to that objective. But they can keep my units back while the Barbarians come up behind them and still be impossible to get through. So I was really thinking to myself, I've screwed this up majorly. And I don't know where I should have put the objective, maybe more in the middle. But with the triangular deployment, it's really hard. And so, I figured, I thought to myself, this is already going to be uphill because I think I'm probably not getting the objective, and and he's surrounding me with a lot of big stuff.
Yeah.
So I wasn't overly happy at this point, I'll admit. He moved his Warrior Knights into a bit of a line formation to make their threat zone even bigger, which is scary. And other than that, I think he was just moving around, which is fair dues. He cast a spell and killed one. I think this was Hellfire.
Sure.
Killed one Ramphadon, did 2 wounds, and I let that go because he had moved his Exalted Herald within range of Grave Ghouls and of Ramphadons. And so I was accepting losing 2 until
dice.
This is not right for the start of a tournament. Way to ruin your hopes, right? I mean, it doesn't matter that they were all 2s instead of 1s. There is no fizzle. These are Tom's last 4 dice. Dice. So, but to be outdiced 4-6 is horrible. And what makes it worse is, I don't know if I've got a dice for it or not on the next picture. But did I? Well, no, I don't think I put the dice out. But he rolled like 10 or 11 on the Graves Court. And the Ramphadons are toast. They are obliterated. And when you save all your dice, we've said it time and time before, it's just so annoying. And I think in between him rolling the magic dice and then the 2d6, I was like, well, never get too excited when you outdice someone like that, because it almost always ends up in the 2d6 rolling a double 1. And he didn't. So I'm Ramphadon's down already, and that was a real bummer for me. Not necessarily for just losing the Ramphadons, but I had my next turn all planned with the Ramphadons coming over, and I was doing this and I was doing that. And then losing them because he has no shooting and no combat. So it was literally my turn immediately after the Ramphadons went down, and I had to reassess my whole plan, and that really threw me, if I'm honest.
Sure.
So I was a bit annoying.
So excuse you for the clearly the next mistake you're going to say. Where's it?
I don't know. Maybe that wasn't me setting up. Actually,
I thought that was like a disclaimer.
You'll no doubt tell me. Oh, maybe it was. You'll tell me, no doubt.
Sure.
I shuffle around a bit, bearing in mind I've lost the Ramphadons, so the Sigisaurs need to just hold the middle now. And I think I was actually hoping to get the Ramphadons to threaten his barbarians and stuff with their flying power at some point, but it doesn't matter. They're not here. So there's that. I move my hunters on the left in front of one of his elders to try and tempt it into coming forward and or getting countercharged or whatnot. I'm not massively confident about him falling into that or whether or not I can make anything of it. But I'm very aware that if I need to get an objective, I probably need to push on the left, because the right is pretty well defended by Knights, Warriors, Elder. Yeah, and I've only got Tegu Guard over there, and they're not as killy as I would like them to be. So I mean, it's still something.
It's still an Elder and 4 Chosen Knights.
I know.
It's not like it's easy. Yeah.
Surely he's added up his points wrong, right? He's got too much on the board. Poor lizards. But anyway, there's still hope because I've got Carved Tablet and maybe I'll get Molten Copper off. So I managed to cast Touch the Reaper and get 2 wounds off on the Barbarian Chief. That's actually a really good result. You roll D3, so rolling 2 out of 3. If I rolled 3 is brilliant. So really happy with that because he didn't have a special save. But this is actually my mistake here, because, and Clewsy told me this almost as soon as it had happened, and I was like, "That's it. That is a real mistake. That's a mistake on my part." Clewsy had no dice left at this point, and I had 2 dice left, and I cast Ancestral Aid on my Tegu Warriors because I figured that his Warrior Knights needed like an 11 or 12 to get in my flank, which I know is scary with Envy, but I was prepared to accept it because I was pushing on the left. Yeah. And that's why I put Ancestral Aid on them. because also the Chosen Knights could potentially charge the front, and it could be a bit of a mess for them. So that's why I put Ancestral Aid on. But Clewsy immediately said, I had no dice left. If you'd have just cast a little Haste on the Hour, my Barbarian Chief's dead.
Yeah, that's true.
I was like, he's only got 1 HP left.
Yeah.
I had nothing to defend it with. And I had 2 dice that I could have easily just cast Haste on the Hour and killed the Chief. So yeah, fair play. I mean, obviously, Clewsy was not telling me that until after the event.
Yeah, until you rolled the dice, put the card down. Oh, by the way.
Yeah, exactly. So that wasn't my bad. I'm obviously not starting my form overly well in this one. But anywho, this is how it looks on the left flank after I cast Ancestral Aid. He moves thusly. He moves up his flayers to chap my warriors.
Thusly.
Very thusly. He charges the Chosen Knights into the flank of the Skink Hunters, and I hold. Basically, there's no point in fleeing. He's got Strider on the Chosen Knights. It's not like they're worried about going through the ruins. I know I'm going to get chaffed with the Warriors, so I know there's no counter charge. I wasn't terribly disappointed about the Elder going around the flank and dealing with my chaff for 2 or 3 turns, because it might potentially leave my Warriors a chance to bomb forward while he was there.
Yeah.
So there was that. His Barbarians are slowly edging their way to the left of the flank to get that objective. And in the middle, he did not decide to take the 11 charge on the flank of the Warriors, which I was quite glad he didn't even roll for it, because, like you say, an 11 with Envy is probably only like 35% or something. I don't know.
Around that. It's something crazy.
Still, maybe worth gambling on. But he decided not to. I think mainly because if he failed, he would, and failed big, like rolled a 6 with one and a 1 with the other, then he would give a flank to my Stygosaurs and or my Taurosaur, and that's not a good thing for the Warriors. Yeah. So, especially with the prey sent on. So that's why he turned it down.
Sure.
I mean, he might say otherwise, but whatever.
And the counter, because you're not going to make them, as much as damage that they probably will do, they're not going to make them not steadfast, and then you're going to get counter charged by your Taurosaur.
Exactly.
That's not good.
Exactly.
No one wants to be charged by a Taurosaur.
Yeah. No, exactly. The Warrior Knights are good, but like you say, they're not getting through 35 plus.
Yeah.
Take your Warriors in one turn. Over on the other side, he just moved around my flank as well with his Shadow Chaser Barbarian, who was annoyingly still alive. So
yeah, sure.
The Warrior Knights, the Chosen Knights, go through the Skink Hunters wonderfully. 2 of them live to run away, and he can't chase them for the reasons he wants to stay on the board. And they were probably expected to run off the board, but they rolled like 4 inches and stayed on the board, and that potentially gives them a chance of rallying and still being a pest. So yes, Hunters. Exactly. So fingers crossed for them. He got Smite the Unbeliever and a wound on the Stygosaur unit. I think, is it Hellfire, the other card? I'm not sure.
Yes, possibly.
Yeah. And that's into my turn. So my turn 3. I turn down the charge with the Warriors and decide. In fact, go back to the last picture because I think it might show it a little bit better.
Sure.
Oh no, sorry, one before that.
This one.
No, one after that.
This
after the Chosen Knights. So, yeah, I was looking at this and I was thinking to myself, my Tegu Veteran is in the flank of those flayers. My Stygosaurs are in the flank of those flayers.
Yeah.
There's potentially an overrun. Now, it wasn't a short overrun, but it was an overrun to where the Chosen Knights had landed. And funnily enough, when I started my turn 3, Clewsy sort of reacted in a way. He was like, oh no, okay. And then went quiet. And I'd already spotted it.
Yeah.
Did this as an opportunity. So I knew what he was worried about. But I'd already started my turn and I'd already declared a charge here and there. And he saw it at that point. At least I think that's what his reaction was about. Because obviously he didn't want to tell me what I might not have already known.
Of course. Yeah.
But so yeah, effectively, back to the original picture, I declared these 2 flank charges with the hope that I could overrun into the Chosen Knights and actually break through on the left flank, which would be amazing. It was definitely an opportunity I didn't really deserve to get. And it also meant my Tegu warriors could then just reform and face off against the Knights, etc. So I was liking that as an option. Of course, the Stigosaurs are movement 7 swift ride, so overrunning a decent 9 inches is possible for them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Obviously, my veteran not so much. He's not swift strike, but still. And so I get in with both the Stigosaur and the Tegu veteran, and I'm hoping to go through the flayers and then overrun. And you can see that overrun there. It's pretty tasty if I can get into the Chosen Knights. Not saying my veteran and my Stigosaurs are going to do that well against the Chosen Knights. They're going to need some help. But I was thinking, if ever there was an opportunity to be had, it's with this. I moved my Skink Chieftain to block the Tegu, the Elder, with Chaffee, while getting my Mystics out of there as well, which is great. I moved my scoring Skink unit round the back because there's no chance they're getting to the objective now. My Taurosaur is still looking at the Warrior Knights for Molten Copper purposes, and my Tegu Guard with the Anorak are looking at the Barbarian Chief and saying, "Why have I got to use another Evo spell on you? Because I should have done it last turn." But still, they're making sure they're a little bit away from the Warrior Knights to prevent a long counter flank charge there as well.
Fair enough.
So, all goes well with the initial part of the plan, but that probably was expected because I killed the Flayers. Yay me. The Stigosaurs successfully complete the overrun. That's great. The Tegu veteran does not.
No.
So that's a shame. And I think, what have I got? I've got Awaken the Beast on Resilience on my Stigosaurs. So now his Chosen Knights are actually Strength 5, and I'm Res 6. So he's wounding me on 5s. So that's not bad for the Stigosaurs. With a little bit of poison and a little bit of, failing 3-up armor saves. You never know. But Chosen Knights 2-up or 1-up? I don't remember.
2-up.
Oh, so 4-up armor saves. So, there's always a chance, and this gives me an option. So,
yeah.
With that. Going into... So, yes, time moves on a little bit in that this is after combat from Clews' turn, or midway through combat, I should say. His dogs up to chaff my warriors. He still hangs back with the Warrior Knights in the middle, having dispelled a carved tablet, molten copper, and everything. He isn't letting me kill any of them. In fact, I'm not really sure. Well, I obviously had to force through Awaken the Beast on the Stigosaurs, actually, because I didn't kill the Shadow Chaser this turn either, or my last turn. And yeah, after combat, because it's all basically on the Stigosaurs, I kill 1 Chosen Knight. Can't see if there's any wounds behind it. Yeah, I did +1 wound. So kill 1 and do 1 wound to the Chosen Knights. And he does 4 wounds to me. So I've taken 1 wound from Hellfire.
You definitely kill 1 because there's 4 in the unit, right?
Yeah, 4 in the unit. There's not.
So it looks like there's a third
Oh yeah, no,
one.
I haven't. No, so I've done 3 wounds to him. He's done 4 wounds to me, and then I've charged. And maybe he had a standard. So maybe he won by 1. But either way, I hold anyway.
Yeah, sure.
So there's that. So yeah, that was fine. And to be honest, I was okay with that because this was fighting on his turn.
Yeah.
So I now have a magic phase. And I have got a healing spell on the Mystics. Plus, I can buff up my remaining Stigosaur. And again, time moves on because we are going really quick. For one reason or another, which Closey admitted to, he was feeling rusty going into this, and his deployment was rather slow. Right, I've said it. Okay, now moving on. Yeah, so we were really trying to get this battle done. So the pictures were few and far between. And you can see my Stigosaur has overcome the Chosen Knights.
That's incredible.
That is incredible. That shouldn't have happened, especially after only doing like minimal wounds to them in the first round. I can't even remember how that all panned out.
That's well good.
Effectively, in the second round of combat, so that's it. I charged my veteran in. That's why I win. It was my turn. Right,
yeah, sure.
It's my turn 4, wasn't it?
He holds on long enough for
he holds long
veteran
enough for my veteran to get in. Yeah, it's not that unbelievable actually when you account for a multiple wounds 2 veteran who's AP5 lethal strike. Yeah, so that's how it happened. It's not just the Stygisaur killing a whole unit of Chosen Knights, and the Stygisaur is, not too badly wounded either. I think I did cast a heal going into the combat. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
And then obviously they kill a fair few, but I win the combat and he fails his break test, which is nice. Elsewise, I moved my hunters up to kind of block the flank charge onto the Tegu guard, as I'm using them to hold the entire right flank. Kind of the opposite happened with the secure target, because his warrior unit is being kept on the other objective.
Sure.
They don't want to move. So what I wanted to happen with the left objective is happening with the right objective in the end, because his warriors are just having to babysit that objective, and the left one is still up for grabs. And much like many people have been surprised by, the Stygisaurs are scoring, and he can challenge that objective with only the barbarians over there.
Yeah,
so
that's well good.
It's really cool how that's wound up. But I still think, the Stygisaur has definitely pulled above his weight in beating the Chosen Knights, even with the Tegu veteran helping out. Anywho, so over here, the warriors are babysitting that objective. His elder has come all the way in the corner. The Shadow Chaser is still being annoying, because I just can't think off that last wound. I don't really remember my magic missiles and damaging spells being very effective in this one. Either I wasn't casting them or he was dispelling them all.
Sure.
I think I just only seemed to be getting one spell off a turn, and it was usually an Awaken the Beast or a heal or something like that. Yeah. And it wasn't very offensive, but
fair enough.
Either way, it's still there. Into his turn 4, I think this is. The barbarians are now joined by the Exalted Herald, because the Herald has to come over and help, knowing that the Stygisaur is scoring. His elder has gone through the Skink Chieftain and is weighing up what to do. I'm not sure if he hasn't moved it yet.
Yeah, he wouldn't have been facing that way.
He won't have just stood still, put it that way. So he's obviously going to do something in a minute. But my Taurosaur was not in range, was not in vision of that elder.
Yes.
So he couldn't see him over the hill, which is why.
Makes sense.
The Taurosaur is safe. The dogs are...
Did they rally?
Did they move their... Yeah, they must have done. I must have charged them in the last turn, and then they rallied.
That's very good.
I can't really remember how that worked out, but they're still there, and they don't look like they're dead. So, I guess without my veteran in that unit, Tegu Warriors, they're not actually that killy, really. Yeah. They're a bit defensive with spears, so with the thin frontage, there's not many attacks on them. So
sure.
Anywho, and yeah, I think that's about it really. In his turn 4. In my turn 5, I move my Tegu guard to here to face the Shadow Chaser again, who still hasn't gone down. Well, I suppose nothing's changed since the last one. I ignore the Feldrak Elder, who is now in the bottom right of the board. He's got a long charge if he wants to get into my Tegu guard. And I also am not too worried about if he does come into the flank, because I'm bodyguard. So I will then turn around at strength 5. I think I can probably out combat res it, providing the Elder doesn't roll lots of high stomps.
Sure.
So, but it's a long charge here anyway, so there's no guarantee he'll get in his turn 5. So
yeah.
I was prepared to risk that. I have been plinking a couple more warriors off. 1 or 2 has gone down, so the unit filler model has gone. But I've still not done enough damage to hurt him. And in Clews' last turn, he managed to get a Quicksilver Lash on my Taurosaur, which is why my Taurosaur has now headed behind the hills. Yeah, it was all of them effectively.
Yeah.
I think maybe it had already taken a wound from something else actually, so I don't think it was only Quicksilver Lash, but
sure,
could be wrong. It might have been 2 Quicksilver Lashes over the course of the time, and I just haven't noticed the other wound go on. Yeah, the Warriors are held in place, so they can't do much. And I charge the dogs again to try and kill them off.
Yep.
And at this point, his warrior knights are so depleted that they probably don't want to take on my Tegu warriors anymore.
Not a full unit like that.
No,
for sure.
So, yeah. I go and stand my Tegu veteran in front of his Exalted Herald and say, "Come at me, bro."
Yeah.
I've got a potion of swiftness, which actually
in the
means, I think they're like
agility massive. They've got to be at least like 8.
Well, I can be 8 off the charge.
Yeah.
So they're 7 to 8. I think they're higher, aren't they? But either way, I wasn't worried about it because the Exalted Herald doesn't have that many attacks or stomps, and I felt that my Tegu veteran could take him on if he had the balls for it. If Clewsy had the balls, then I was ready to take him on.
We shall see.
But we'll see if he wants that. My Stygisaur moves to stand in front of the barbarians and say, "I am going to charge you, and I will win this objective unless you come at me." While staying out of line of sight of the Exalted Herald.
Yeah. Not you.
Yeah, not you. Yeah. And the Mystics are hanging around as well to help with healing and stuff like that.
Sure.
And I've chaffed the Elder with my last 2 hunters who rallied and came back on, which is really nice of them to do that. Yeah, I think that's just another picture. Oh, he charged in his turn 5. He charged his barbarians into my Stygisaur. So with that, he was like, "Yes, I'll take you on." He did not take me on with the Exalted Herald, though.
No balls. I've always said that about Clewsy.
Yeah.
No balls.
Exactly. Yeah. You told me
when it comes to heralds, no balls.
Mm-hmm. No balls. Yeah. So that was disappointing. I think this might be before he moved the herald because he certainly didn't just stand there.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll see where he goes in a minute. This might also be. Why have I got 2 wounds? Whoa. Well, the next picture will show it. Yes, that's right. He forgot to move his Exalted Herald in his movement phase, right? Which was why when I took that last picture, he was still in front of the Tegu veteran.
Yeah.
And when he started his magic phase, he wanted to cast a spell on the Taurosaur. And he said, "Oh, I forgot to move my Exalted Herald. Do you mind if I move it to be in range of your Taurosaur?" We were talking through. We're all friends here, right?
Sure.
And obviously I said, "Yeah, no problem." Because it wasn't guaranteed that the Taurosaur would die. Just don't kill him, right? Be a gent here. I've let you move. Be a gent. And he kills the Taurosaur. Of course he does. It was like another...
Does he kill it at the cost of 3 wounds, though?
Yes, he must have done. It must have been a miscast. Because I haven't done those wounds any other way.
Yeah.
Literally, there's no other way I could cause 3 wounds to it. So I think he does take 3 out of 5 wounds. He's got 5, so I still need to do 1 more wound in order to get points. And this is our last picture. So I can summarize the rest of the game, effectively, because this was his turn 5 when he kills the Taurosaur.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I think... hindsight's 2020, right? Okay, but let's talk about the barbarians first, because that's quite important. So in my turn 6, I get a healing spell to bring the Stygisaur another couple of wounds, which is massive, because he only needs to take 1 more wound on top of this picture to lose half points.
Yeah.
And I managed to charge my veteran into the rear of the barbarians, because the barbarians got pretty smooshed up when they charged the Stygisaur in his turn 5. I wiped out the bank rank. He held some steadfast. And so there's nothing else for my veteran to do other than charge the rear of the barbarians and hope I can kill them over 2 rounds of combat so that my Stygisaur survives and wins the objective, or wins that objective.
Yeah.
So that's all gravy. And that turns out to happen. I kill the barbarians, the Stygisaur survives, I get that objective.
Great.
Superb. That is a result. And considering that Stygisaur has survived 4 chosen knights in doing so, and won an objective, I was really writing off at the start of my turn 2. I thought I'd screwed up that objective. And somehow I managed to get that by some crazy lucky rolling on the chosen knights and a few other things happening, But either way. But that leads us to our other question, which is the Exalted Herald. Now, I wanted half points for the Exalted Herald, and I didn't have a lot of magic over there. The Taurosaur's dead. The Stygosaur's in combat. My Anarach is so far away that he can't help with evocation. And my Tegu Mystics haven't got a missile spell to do any damage. So I figure I'm prepared to sacrifice my 300-point Tegu Mystics to try and plink one wound on the Exalted Herald. I'm not expecting 2 wounds, because that would be like a bit
400 points.
Exactly. So
you don't get generous.
You wouldn't get that, no. But so I'm prepared to go for it. So I charge my Mystics into the Exalted Herald, hoping I can plink off 1 wound.
Yeah.
What then happens in the combat in my turn 6? So there's still his turn 6 to go afterwards.
Yeah.
I decide that I've got more chance of doing it over 2 rounds of combat than I have over 1. So I accept a duel with my champion on the Mystics in the first round, in my turn 6, thinking that'll just guarantee that I've got an extra turn for the rest of them to then attack in my last turn. Clewsy must have read my mind and rolls so ridiculously bad in my turn 6 that he doesn't kill my champion. And I only have like 3 attacks on my champion, so I don't do a wound to the Exalted Herald.
Oh, so
no, going into his turn 6, I'm still in a duel with only 3 Mystic attacks against an Exalted Herald, who he didn't even do a wound to my champion. That's how badly the Exalted Herald rolled.
That's crazy. That's really
And he
crazy.
doesn't even have... I don't have parry. I only have 5 armor save. He went straight through armor. He would have gone straight through armor. He just rolled terribly and messed up everyone's day. But what it also meant is that his Feldrak Elder, who in his turn 5 had killed the last 2 Sink Hunters, had a 10 or 11 charge to get into the flank of my Tegu Mystics. And he made it. Which meant, unfortunately, that not only did my Tegu Mystic then die in Cluzy's turn 6, but also the Feldrak Elder came into their flank and killed the Mystics. So I didn't get my points for the getting a wound on the Exalted Herald, and I also lost my Mystics anyway. So that was a kind of a gamble that I just did not actually get the result that I wanted out of. But it was a gamble that I played nonetheless. And so, maybe it was worth a go. I'll be keen on what people think. Was I being a bit ambitious
that'd be really
trying to get the points? And also, should I have just not declared a duel? I mean,
could
my
you
reasoning,
use
I think,
the
was
thrown
sound,
weapons?
I could have tried that. Yeah, potentially. I didn't have Awaken the Beast in range anymore, I don't think, to give them an extra strength boost. 6s. But yeah, maybe that would have worked better. Make him roll on his armor and special save.
Just get
maybe.
1. But I don't know.
Yeah. No, that probably would have been a safer option. It would have kept them alive for sure, because I could have done it from his flank. So yeah, that's probably spot on. Actually, that's definitely a better plan. But I didn't think of it. So yeah,
I'm just thinking because that's
I would
in
have
their
22 throwing weapons.
Yeah. Like, that's in their rules. I would just try and use that every single game as much as possible. Give me a Val token so I can use this.
Oh well, I've got channel 5, so yeah. Yes, that would have been a good idea, but I didn't think of it and didn't do it. Instead, I threw them to their slaughter. So that was the last picture. What else happened? Nothing, really. I did kill the Shadow Chaser with my final magic phase on the right side. So at least I got his points in the end, because you don't get anything for 2 wounds on a 3-wound character. So I did get his points.
That's why Cowboys are so good, man.
Exactly, yeah.
So good.
Yeah, but the Warrior Knights backed off. He got the objective with his warriors. The Feldrak Elder decided not to come near my Tegu guard, and it all sort of petered out over the other side. Yeah, so there's that. Which meant the final score with a drawn objective is 10-10.
10-9.
10-9. How did that happen?
That may have been a production issue. But hey, well done for winning 10-9.
I'll take a 10-9. Sorry, Clewsy. We'll have to change everything. Re-enter it into new recruit. I'm sure that you must be doing these on purpose now.
Fantastic.
The flags, the scores.
Absolutely. Why not?
Yeah, too right, yeah. It was as close can be in terms of victory points. I think Clewsy was still a bit in shell shock for two things. One, that the Chosen Knights lost to the Stygosaurs, even with the Tego Veteran coming in.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And two, I think he either forgot or didn't realise the Stygosaur was scoring. So it was quite a late realisation that objective was in danger.
Yeah, that is a bit. You don't get too many monsters that are.
No one
scoring.
expects the Stygosaurs to be scoring.
Yeah.
No one. So it's not.
So that's pretty good.
It's a regular thing, and tell you what, those Stygosaurs so good at getting scores objectives. Yeah. I need more of them. So yeah, cool. I will take a 10-10 against a good player like Clewsy in round 1, especially as at the start of my turn 2, I was feeling like I'd misplayed the objective and I was surrounded. There were a few mistakes on my part, but I think I just clawed my way to a 10-10, and I was delighted with that. So
nice.
I'm calling that a good start, even though I didn't play that well.
Solid start. It's a solid start.
It's a solid start against a very good player.
It's a solid, as they always say, what you want is a solid 10-9 in round 1.
That is pretty much the written rule, isn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah. You get that, you're on your way to a good tournament.
Yeah, that's it. And I'd never played Clewsy before as well. So that's another notch on the bedpost, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Good guy. Good guy.
Yeah, absolutely. And we were out to dinner that evening, and I gave him part of my pizza that I didn't eat. So there you go.
In exchange for the point that you didn't give him, right?
Absolutely, yeah. Too right. Yeah. So yeah, all good. Really enjoying myself. I'd love to know what you thought of how I misplayed that one, because I do think I scrambled to get the 10, and on another day I probably shouldn't have got 10. So there we go. On to round 2, and I face another new opponent that I've never played before. So we'll see who that is when we return. But don't forget to like, share, subscribe, give me your comments, and tell Lucky Sixes how beautiful he is, because he needs to know these things every now and again.
I need it. Yeah. Absolutely.
Good stuff. We'll see you in round 2, folks.
See you later.